You climb to the top of the mountain. Upon this cliff, you see a nest full of eggs the size of your head. You look at it. Here's your prize. But behind you, you hear a screech of an eagle, except deeper, louder. You feel the buffet of wings fly over you, and the griffin descends, guarding its young, unborn, ready to fiercely rip you to shreds. Hello, Monster Hunters. Welcome to Harvesting Monsters, where we talk about different monsters, their abilities, and how we can use them to better increase the lore and power of our players. So, today we're going to be talking about the Griffin. The Griffin is one of the classical magical beasts. It's part eagle, part lion, and it's about a CR4. Griffins are creatures that are often really valued because they're used as an exotic mount, a mount that could fly. So let's go through and look at the different abilities that they have. So first they have scent, obviously from their cat part, even though they have a bird face. Scent's going to improve our perception, and it's also going to improve survival skills. So your nature lore and whatnot. Obviously they can fly. They can fly very fast at 80 feet per round, also known as 16 squares. Very fast. And so this is obviously flight, acrobatics, and other stuff like that. Pounce. So pounce means they can make a full round attack if they do the charge action. So extra attacks. Also speed, so anything that increases movement. And yeah, so rake is an extra attack. If they get a pounce attack and they hit with both their attacks, they will do a rake attack, so more attack. And then strength, they also get a bonus to acrobatics. So that's going to give us more acrobatics for skills. Perception, also the same. Now, there's two other things I want to talk about because they are part cat and part eagle. This is a great place for them to do charisma and dex, because eagle splendor and cat's grace. So these are kind of the abilities that we're going to be working with. This is what the Griffin's strengths are. Because they're a magical beast, they have a low intelligence of 5, but that's still more than twice as high than the most intelligent animals. They are able to understand speech. If you actually look on page 168 of the Monster Manual, the Bestiary, it talks about you can force a Griffin to be your mount, but in most good aligned societies, that's considered slavery. It's much more beneficial to befriend it and get it to allow you to work together as a partnership. So, yeah, let's move on and let's see what we can actually harvest when we defeat a Griffin. Alright, so we're working with our 2-die-4 charts. We have nothing, and then we have the roll twice, like usual. Now, let's start off with the talons. So the talons are going to give us strength. Because they're eagle, we're also going to put our charisma here. This is how they're going to be using their... Actually, this is not how they're going to be using their rake attack, but these are their main attacks for the pounce. So we can put extra attack here. And then I put a die 2 because they have 2 front feet, 2 front talons. And I ran it at 75 gold pieces each because Griffins are more common. Their parts aren't going to be super valuable. You can totally imagine that there is a place in your world where everyone rides Griffins. Maybe it's a mountain castle. Alright, Retractable Claws. This is obviously from the lion portion. This is for their rake ability. We're going to put strength. We're going to put dex. And we're going to put extra attack. So 3 and 4 kind of really roll in the same area, but that's okay. It's good to have some redundancy. It allows your players to, even if they don't get the thing that they want, they're still going to be able to work with it. Griffin feathers, so flight. And I put 2 die 10 for 30 gold pieces each, so you can get up to 20 feathers. Flight, we can put the charisma here. Charisma. And maybe acrobatics. So acrobatics. Next, the mutant's blood. So because it's one of those creatures that's a combination of different types of creatures, I kind of made this maybe a more reoccurring magical item or magical harvest item. That a lot of these creatures that are multiple things, they have blood that's very able to be fused with other things. So it's really great when wizards want to create new creatures. I would also put like human blood as mutant blood because humans are so compatible with other creatures, orcs, elves. So we're going to put down probably charisma again. And polymorph. And lastly, the cat, eagle, hybrid eye. So both cat eye and eagle eye are both like old idioms, cliches of something with really good eyesight. So this is where we're going to get our perception. And any other bonus that lets us do things, so like scrying, very important. Lots of divination. I feel like Griffin's eyes would be amazing for divination spells. Now, I want to incorporate, this is what they can harvest in an hour. Now, if they roll really well, maybe you want to allow them to harvest another hour. And if they want to spend a good long time harvesting the Griffin, or any monster for that sake, feel free to roll in this chart for every hour that they search the body. All right. In addition, they will be able to pull off 4 die 8 pounds of meat from the Griffin. That's going to be like 2 die 8 kilos, or if you want to do 4 die 4 kilos. And there's also some other things that are detailed in the monster manual. Eggs are worth 3,500 gold pieces, and the cubs or chicks, I'm going to call them cubs, the cubs are worth twice that at 7,000 gold pieces each for people who want to train them. Now the meat is something that you can always find. The egg and cub is something that you need to do a deliberate choice. Maybe, and obviously if they're at a Griffin's nest, they might be there. Think about when these animals reproduce. Cats often reproduce at the beginning of summer. Eagles, I don't know when they reproduce. And big cats like lions, they don't have like winter and summer, kind of like we do have. Well, maybe they do. I don't know much about the geography of Africa. But I think the beginning of summer is a good time to kind of place down when these creatures will be reproducing. Now, with that in mind, let's move on to the next part. After they've harvested this meat, what can they make with it? All right, Griffin steaks. So Griffin steaks, the DC is con-based. Craft cooking, DC 15. They only have 5 hit dice. They have a con of 16. So you take half the hit dice, you take the con modifier 3, add it together, add 10, you get DC 15. So, and then, so it's not super hard to make because, again, Griffins seem like they'd be pretty common in the world, and maybe I should use them more in my own campaigns. But to make this steak, you'll need 10 gold pieces worth of veggies, oils, and seasoning. For me, I feel like if it's a good cut of meat, you're not going to need a lot of seasoning. But that's kind of up to the players and their butchering skills to know what is the good pieces of meat. So that would be like a creature lore, maybe DC 15. Maybe you want to do just the hit dice, which would also be DC 15. So maybe the full hit dice and the con, which would be DC 18. Now, eating this will confer a bonus of +1 attack rolls, +1 acrobatic checks, and +1 damage rolls. The reason I did this is I didn't feel like I incorporated a lot of the extra attacks and damage and athletics of the Griffin into the items that you can get from it. So this is a good portion for you to use, and I feel like a lot of people, when they eat a Griffin, it's going to be bolstering their physical abilities. All right, now the most exciting part: what kind of item can we craft it with this? All right, so let's roll it out. So what I did for this is I made the Griffin Legion armor medium version. Now, like I said, I could totally see there's a mountain fortress where the standing army all have Griffins. Or maybe they're kind of Griffin oriented because they work with the Griffins. Kind of like a domestic partnership. Now, the medium version is going to be a +1 breastplate. The +1 breastplate is going to run us 1,350 gold pieces. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to give us +30 movement speed when we're charging. That's 6 squares. And the reason I want this is because, again, I want to incorporate that pounce ability. And then you're going to get +4 to ride, +4 to handle animal, because you want to be able to diplomatize with the Griffins. You're going to want to be able to guide them through combat when you're riding on back of them. And then +2 charisma, because the Griffins are a symbol of leadership. That most people, when you see a Griffin with it, someone riding a Griffin, you see, well, that's a person of power. That's someone I should be following. So the charisma bonus is going to add on to that. So 30 movement speed. This one was a little bit tough, so it's going to be 1 × 1 × 2,000 because it's use activated. The modifier is ×2 because it lasts some minutes, but I actually divided by 2 because it's only active when you're charging, and that could probably be half the time in combat. When you're just walking, it doesn't activate, so you're not really increasing your movement speed. So I divided by 2, and then 4 squared times 100, and we're going to do that twice. That's going to be 32,000. And lastly, the +2 to charisma, we take the bonus, we square it, and then we times 1,000, so we get 4,000. All right, this rolls out to be 2,000. So before we add all this up, I want to go through and tell you what the modifiers are. So no modifier here. This is the most expensive. All right, and the only thing that doesn't really match the charisma thing is the increase to speed. So the 2,000 is going to be times 1.5. The skill bonuses, they're going to be times 0.75. And lastly, this is the highest, so no change there. And then the armor, no change there either. So let me go through and we'll calculate this out. Will be 10,750 gold pieces. Now it's going to land us right about a level 6 item. It's a little bit more expensive. You get 16,000 gold pieces for being level 6. So this is a little bit more than half, but I feel like you could totally squeeze by with getting some good armor. And you could always change this to light armor to save 100 gold pieces. That doesn't actually change that much. This could be a masterwork item to save you 1,000 gold pieces instead of making a magical armor. But we have a nice level 6 item here. Thanks for watching. If you have a request for another monster, please leave it down in the comments down below, and I will be happy to draw up what you can harvest from it, what you can eat, and what bonuses you get, and what items you can make from it. Alright, this has been Harvesting Monsters. I'm Malix. Thanks for watching. Keep rolling.